Hey everyone, today I'm creating these bright and cheerful cards using a very simple design. It is based off some cards that I've made in the past, and it has a 5¼ by 4 backing panel and then this small feature item that allows you to add any of your leftovers and decorate all of the cards in different ways. Today I'll be doing that strip on the left using the scrapbook.com stitched border dies. These will help me create a 1/4 inch strip in navy. I'm also using the Summer Stems Honeybee Stamps paper pad. Honeybee Stamps are currently doing a run out sale on their retired paper pads. I've put a link below. They have some amazing deals for $2.50. I think there's about a dozen designs to pick from. Unfortunately, this isn't one of them, but there are loads that are very bright and cheerful. For today's cards, I'm doing absolutely no planning and no matching of patterns. I know this seems really strange for me because I normally sort that out at the beginning and then just compile the cards. But today I'm using a technique that means you don't have to think at all and you just need to trust the process. I have every design of pattern paper face up and then face down. What that means is I have every one of the 24 designs once. And I'm running through and I'm cutting these down so that I cut a 2-inch strip off the side. And then I'm going to cut a little strip from the bottom so I end up with a 4 by 5¼ inch panel. I'll then use a portion of the 2-inch strip on the right hand side of the screen to create a 3½ by 2-inch piece that will contribute to the panel on the front of each card. It'll essentially just be flipped over so every card has the front and back of the same piece of paper. You'll notice as I cut these down that I'm being extremely particular with where I put the piles of paper. I'm making sure everything stays stacked in the exact same way, just so that I don't get confused. Normally you'd see me put all the elements of cards together and then do all the assembly at the end, but here I'm already doing the backing layer onto the card base itself, and again, this just has to do with not muddling up the orders of the paper and making sure that this process is super simple. I did create 22 cards today, and it did take me, I'm going to say, maybe 2 or 3 hours to create all 22. The next step I did was to cut down the 2-inch strips. So these are 6 by 2 inches, and when I trimmed them down, I just cut them at the 3½ mark. For some of the papers, I found that they had a gradient on them or the design varied, and I tried to make sure that I captured my favorite part of the design in the 3½ inch component. So for this one here, where it goes from like an orange to peach, I chose to use the darker orange. Here, where it goes from pink to orange, I chose to use the pink end. It didn't really make too much of a difference, but I was just cautious for the pieces that were being cut down that I kept the bit that I liked the best. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the leftovers just yet. I have a 4 by 1/4 and I have a 2 by 2½, so they're quite small pieces, but we'll see. These are the dies, and you can see here I taped together the ones that were all 1/4 inch, just so they were consistent in size, and when I ran them through my die cutting machine, it was a lot easier to create a big pile of strips all at once. I then chopped those down so that they would have a 3½ inch length, and when I've attached them to this white backing panel, I then only have one little bit that I need to trim on the right hand side. I left a few of these in the video because I wanted you to see just how straightforward it is. I'm just using white scrap cardstock here, and I'm attaching the 2 by 3½ inch strip. Then I've got my little decorative panels. I'm putting a little bit of ATG on the back, and then I just nudge it up right next to the other paper and make sure it lines up at the top and bottom, and then I can trim around the edge so that it's one element. As a reminder, when I trim around the edge, I'm using the right-hand side of the clear guard on my trimmer, and that gives me a perfect border that is somewhere between 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch border. I prefer in between for both, and right here I'm freehanding attaching the first piece because I just know what that looks like because I've made loads and loads and loads of cards using the exact same border width. Traditionally, when I create some cards of this nature, I'll use leftover die cuts and embellishments from other projects, but because I still have those packed away from the holidays where I tidied up my craft space, I pulled out this ephemera from Cocoa Vanilla, and it's called Floral Ephemera from the These Days collection. I will put a link below as well as a link to everything else that I've used today. The next step is to add all of the ephemera and some sentiments to the front of each of the cards. I did cut down 2 pieces of the honeybee paper to use the sentiments. There was loads and loads of different sentiments, and they are in the perfect colours to match with the pattern papers. So using them together means that I don't have to really do too much thinking. I don't have to get out any of my stamps. I don't need to get out my MISTI. I can just use these and compile the cards in a really, really simple and easy way. I did want to take a moment to mention that I took the time to ensure that I kept the front and the back of the pattern paper together so that I knew that they would match quite well. But what I did learn throughout this process is I could have created the backing panels on the cards super quickly, and then these feature panels for the front, and then just match them up to the backing panels really easily freehand. So rather than kind of fussing around and trying to be very specific and doing things in order, I think I would have saved myself a little bit of time and a little bit of mental energy to just create the two things separately and then just trust in the fact that the pattern papers all really do match so well together that it would have been easy to match them up in the end. And I might do another video down the track where I actually do it that way. Just create the two halves separately and then freehand them back together as part of this process here. You'll notice that as I'm working through, there's a couple of little butterflies and a typewriter, and there was a stack of books a little bit earlier. They are leftover ephemera from the These Days collection, but it's from a different ephemera pack, and I just had those put aside with the full package, and so I was just using some of those together. The butterflies are particularly cute, and out of these florals, and I'm not a huge floral fan, although I do make a lot of cards this way because I donate to nursing homes and other people who enjoy florals. I do love just these little sprigs of leaves. I just think they are super cute and quite impactful when you add the green on green. If you're enjoying the video, it would be amazing if you could hit the like button. That is how YouTube understands that people are enjoying the video, and it will help it spread to more viewers. So thank you in advance to everybody who has done that. I do have a question for you. I'm thinking about doing a monthly recap video, or maybe, cards of the quarter, so that I could summarize all of the cards that I've made recently and maybe add some links to those videos. It might just give me a chance to showcase some of the cards that I've made and be a bit of a summary for those that don't get a chance to watch as many videos as they'd like. It would almost be a bit of a table of contents of the things that were available. The other thing I've done recently is updated all of my playlists. I've tried to make sure that they're not, 70 videos, 80 videos long. So I've put one with all of my Doodlebug videos, all of my Paper Rose videos, all of my Honeybee Stamps videos. I've also done some where you are following card sketches. I've got some for Sheetload of Cards. I've also got some for the Kendra's Card Challenge. So I've tried to bundle them together, so if there's a particular format that you prefer, you can find those really easily. You just need to go to my channel page and to playlists, and you'll see them all listed there. And if you want to have a big binge session, you can sit down and watch as many as you like in a row, maybe while you're crafting and doing other hobbies. I've put one of the playlists here that I think you might enjoy. Have a great day.